"I just bought a $5 million oceanfront villa," I whispered to myself as I stood on the wide balcony, the salty wind from the Atlantic brushing against my face. For the first time in decades, I felt peace. But then my phone rang, and what I heard shattered that moment. It was my son-in-law, Derek. His voice was sharp, commanding, dripping with entitlement. "We're coming. 10 of us. Get beds, towels, slippers, and food ready. We'll be staying for 6 weeks. We'll be there in 50 minutes. So hurry up, old man." Old man. That's what he called me. Not Dad. Not even James. Just old man. My name is James Whitaker, 58 years old, retired machinist from Ohio. I spent 40 years working double shifts, missing birthdays and anniversaries, just so my only daughter Lila could have a better life than I ever dreamed of. I thought I succeeded when she married Derek, a tall, smooth-talking man who promised me he'd take care of her. But somewhere along the line, my daughter drifted away from me. Derek's influence grew, and respect for me shrank. Now, after I had finally rewarded myself with this villa, a symbol of freedom, of hard-earned dignity, they saw it as their vacation home. My chest tightened, not from fear, but from the weight of years of sacrifice being mocked. I had stocked the fridge with simple things: milk, eggs, bread. I hadn't planned for 10 uninvited mouths. 6 weeks. As I looked around the villa, the marble floors, the wide glass windows overlooking the waves, the silence I had so carefully chosen for my retirement, I felt a storm building inside me. For decades, I bent over backward for everyone. I gave. I provided. I endured. Now, with this call, I realized something. Derek didn't just want a place to stay. He wanted to remind me that I was still the servant, still the workhorse, still the old man. But as I hung up the phone, a strange calm settled over me. I smiled. Not the smile of surrender. The smile of a man who had finally seen the truth. I made a plan. And it wasn't what Derek expected. I didn't always feel invisible. Once, I was the center of my little family's world. I was strong, dependable, the man who fixed every broken thing and carried every burden. My wife, Marianne, used to say, "James, you've got the hands of a worker and the heart of a poet." She was right. I loved to work, but I also loved to dream. I dreamed of taking my daughter, Lila, on trips across America. I dreamed of saving enough so Marianne and I could retire by the water. But dreams, they cost. I started at the steel plant when I was 18. By 25, my knuckles were raw from grease, my back scarred from lifting, and my lungs lined with dust. But every time my body begged me to stop, I'd picture Lila's tiny hands tugging at my shirt when I came home, whispering, "Daddy, did you bring me a story?" And I'd sit on the couch, tell her tales about castles and oceans, even when my eyes were closing. By 35, overtime became my middle name. I worked Christmas Eve shifts while other fathers tucked their kids in by the tree. Marianne stayed up waiting for me, wrapping the last presents so Lila wouldn't see the struggle. We told ourselves it was worth it. And in a way, it was. Lila grew into a bright, spirited young woman. But somewhere between those steel beams and endless nights, my marriage cracked. Marianne's health declined. The doctors whispered words I hated: cancer, aggressive, little time. And though I threw every paycheck and ounce of energy into fighting it, the disease stole her from me when I was 45. Her last words: "Promise me you'll live, James. Don't just work. Live. And watch over Lila." I promised. God, I promised. After her funeral, it was just Lila and me. She was 19, full of ambition, chasing a business degree in the city. I worked even harder to pay her tuition, sending checks while eating cold beans out of cans for dinner. I didn't mind. She was my purpose. Then Derek appeared. The first time I met him, he wore a sharp suit that looked like it had never seen a wrinkle. His handshake was too firm, like he wanted to crush my bones. He called me sir, but his eyes said old man even then. Still, Lila beamed when she looked at him, and I wanted her to be happy. The wedding came fast. Too fast. They chose a sleek country club instead of the church Marianne and I had always imagined. Lila said it was modern and more their style. When I offered to pay, Derek laughed and said, "Don't worry, James. I've got this. You've done enough." But the way he said it, it stung. Like my years of sacrifice had been a burden, not a gift. After they married, I saw less and less of Lila. The calls shortened. The visits stopped. And when she did call, it was usually for money. "Just until Derek's new venture takes off," she'd say. I sent checks. I always sent checks. Because what else could I do? By 55, I was tired. My body ached from decades at the plant. My pension wasn't much, but I'd saved every dollar I could. I bought this villa not as a trophy, but as a sanctuary. A promise to Marianne that I'd finally live. A place where maybe, just maybe, Lila would visit and remember her father wasn't just a wallet, but a man who loved her. But instead of joy, the villa became fuel for Derek's greed. I still remember the first time they visited. Lila swept through the doors, sunglasses on, as if she owned the place. Derek strutted behind her, carrying nothing but entitlement. Their kids, my grandchildren, ran wild through the halls. I tried to hug them, but they wriggled away, more interested in the big screen TV. At dinner, Derek leaned back in his chair and said, "You know, James, a house like this shouldn't just sit empty when you're not here. We could make good use of it. Family trips. Business retreats. 6 weeks here, 6 weeks there. It's a shame to waste space." I laughed politely then. But inside, my stomach turned. Family. He used that word like a weapon. As years passed, Derek grew bolder. He'd text me, not ask. Asterisk text me asterisk. "Stock up the fridge, James. We're coming. Make sure the kids have Wi-Fi passwords ready. Don't forget, Lila likes the good wine." Each time, I obeyed. I told myself it was for Lila. For the grandchildren. For Marianne's wish that I protect our daughter. But every time, I felt myself shrinking. Until last week. Last week, something shifted. I was walking along the beach, watching the gulls dive into the surf, when I saw an old couple holding hands. They laughed as the waves soaked their shoes. They looked free. Alive. And I thought, asterisk, that should have been me and Marianne. Asterisk. Then I thought, asterisk, why not me still? Asterisk. Why should I be their servant? Why should I allow Derek to treat me like a doormat in my own sanctuary? When Derek called today with his orders, 10 people, 6 weeks, hurry up old man, I felt the old James die. The one who always bent. The one who always said yes. But another James, one Marianne would recognize, rose inside me. And as I looked around this villa, I saw not just walls and windows, but weapons. Not of war, but of dignity. I smiled, because Derek thought he was walking into a free vacation. But he had no idea. This time, I had a plan. A plan to remind them, and myself, that I am not just the old man. I am James Whittaker. And I am done being used. The sound of tires crunching over gravel cut through the stillness of the villa's driveway. I glanced at the clock on the wall. 50 minutes, almost to the second. Derek always liked to make an entrance. I stood by the window, hands clasped behind my back, as 2 black SUVs rolled up like royalty arriving at their summer palace. Doors flung open. Lila stepped out first, hair glossy, sunglasses perched high, a designer bag dangling from her arm. She didn't even look at the villa, just at her phone. Derek emerged next, tall, confident, smirking like he owned the ocean behind my home. He clapped his hands as if announcing their arrival. "All right, kids. Welcome to your summer house." Summer house. My jaw tightened. I didn't move. One by one, the grandchildren spilled out, shouting, dragging suitcases bigger than they were. 2 teenage boys shoved each other while a younger girl whined about the heat. Then came Derek's sister, her husband, their 3 children, and finally his mother, fanning herself dramatically as though she had been dragged into exile rather than a beachside paradise. 10 of them. 10 whirlwinds of noise and chaos, stomping across the pristine driveway, dragging their entitlement through the front door. I opened it before Derek could knock. "Well, there he is," he said, clapping me on the shoulder hard enough to sting. "The man of the hour. Our host with the most." I smiled thinly. "Welcome. Lila finally looked up, her lips curling into a faint smile. "Hi, Dad." No hug, just those 2 words, flat as paper. The kids ran past me without a word. Upstairs, I heard doors slamming and voices shouting, "I want this room!" Derek walked in like a real estate agent showing off property he already owned. "Place looks good, James. You've been keeping it up." "Nice. Very nice." He snapped his fingers at me like I was staff. "We'll need dinner in about 2 hours. Something simple but filling. Kids are picky, but you know the drill. Oh, and extra towels in every bathroom. Slippers too. Don't want sand everywhere." His mother sniffed the air. "Smells musty. Hope the sheets are clean." Lila tapped her phone. "Dad, the Wi-Fi password." I stood in the middle of my living room, listening to the storm take over my home, and felt strangely calm. Because everything was happening exactly as I expected. "Dinner in 2 hours," I repeated softly. "Of course." But my plan was already unfolding. The first phase was simple. Give them what they wanted. 4 years, they'd treated me like a servant, so I would play the role, but on my terms. I went into the kitchen and began pulling ingredients. Derek wandered in, grabbing a beer from the fridge without asking. "What are we having?" "Something special," I said. He nodded, not caring enough to ask further, and left. I cooked deliberately slow, humming to myself. I thought of Marianne as I chopped vegetables, her gentle hands guiding mine years ago when we made Sunday dinners together. The memory fueled me, steadied me. When dinner was ready, I called them all to the table. 10 seats filled noisily. Plates clattered. No one said thank you. They devoured the meal, arguing, laughing, glued to their phones. Derek leaned back mid-bite, chewing with his mouth open. "See, James, this is what family looks like. Everyone together. Isn't this what you wanted?" I smiled faintly. "Something like that." They didn't notice the way I watched. Every sigh, every demand, every careless insult. They didn't see me storing it away like kindling. After dinner, I cleared the plates while they sprawled in the living room, feet on my coffee table, crumbs on the couch. Lila called out, "Dad, don't forget to pick up snacks tomorrow. The kids want chips and soda." "Yes, dear," I answered softly. Phase 2 had begun. That night, when the villa finally fell quiet, I walked the halls. I peeked into rooms where my grandchildren slept, snoring, drooling on sheets I had bought. I lingered at Lila's door, hearing Derek's voice through the wall, arrogant, commanding even in private. And I realized something chilling. Lila was no longer mine. She was his shadow. My bright, spirited little girl had been smothered beneath his arrogance. But I wasn't angry. Not anymore. I was resolute. I stepped out onto the balcony, the waves crashing below, the moon lighting the water silver. Marianne's voice echoed in my head. Asterisk, promise me you'll live, James. Asterisk. Living, I now understood, wasn't about peace and silence. It was about reclaiming what had been stolen. My dignity, my worth, my place. And I would reclaim it. The next morning, I woke early, before the chaos began. I brewed coffee strong enough to shake the rust from my bones. As I sipped, I sketched the outline of my plan on a notepad. Nothing dramatic. No shouting matches, no slamming doors. Derek would expect that. No, this plan would be quiet. Subtle. 1,000 small cuts, each one showing them who I really was. First, the Wi-Fi. At breakfast, Lila complained. Dad, the Wi-Fi's down. I've got work to do. I frowned. Strange. Must be the signal out here. You know how these oceanfront places are. I shrugged. I'll call the provider later. For now, maybe the kids can play outside. Groans erupted around the table. Derek glared at me. Fix it, James. They need their screens. I spread jam on my toast calmly. I'll see what I can do. What they didn't know was that I'd unplugged the router myself. Second, the chores. James, the towels aren't in the guest bath. Derek's sister barked later. Oh dear, I said. I'll get to it after I finish raking the sand out back. By mid-afternoon, Requests piled up. More towels. More snacks. More everything. And every time, I nodded slowly, moved at my own pace, humming under my breath. The truth was dawning on them. I wasn't rushing anymore. I wasn't bending. I was moving like the tide, steady, unstoppable, uncaring of their demands. Derek cornered me that evening, his smile brittle. "What's going on, James? You seem different." I looked him straight in the eye for the first time in years. "Do I?" He searched my face, waiting for the old compliance. But it wasn't there. That night, as the family bickered over board games and snacks, I sat quietly in my chair, observing. They thought they were in control. They thought this house, my life, bent to them. But they were standing in the middle of my ocean, and the tide was turning. The third morning, I woke to shouting. Not the playful kind, not children's giggles echoing down the hall. No, this was sharp, brittle, the sound of family tearing at its own seams. I pulled on my robe and walked down the hallway, taking my time. Derek's voice boomed from the kitchen. "Who finished the cereal? I told you the kids need breakfast before they hit the beach." His sister snapped back. "Maybe if you bought your own groceries instead of treating James like your butler." "Don't start, Marcy." I leaned against the doorway. The countertops were a mess, milk spilled, dishes piled high. My pristine villa looked like a frat house after a weekend bender. Derek turned on me instantly, pointing. "James, there you are. We need more cereal, milk, fruit, whatever kids eat. Run to the store, will you? And get something for tonight. Maybe steaks." I met his eyes, calm as still water. "The store's a 40-minute drive. Gas is expensive. You'll need to cover it." The room went silent. Derek blinked. "Excuse me. You heard me." I poured myself coffee, black and slow. "You want me to fetch food, you pay for it. I'm retired, not running a catering service." Marcy snorted into her cup, hiding a grin. Even Lila looked up from her phone, startled. Derek forced a laugh. "Come on, James. Don't make it weird. You've always handled these things." I sipped my coffee, unhurried. "Not anymore." I walked out, leaving his words hanging like smoke. That was phase 3, boundaries. Small, firm, undeniable. They didn't know it yet, but every demand they made was a chance for me to remind them this house wasn't theirs. By noon, the villa hummed with sulking energy. The grandchildren whined about the broken Wi-Fi. Derek tried fiddling with the router, cursing under his breath. "Damned thing's ancient. James, when are you getting this fixed?" I shrugged. "Maybe next week. Or not. Depends if I feel like it." The teenagers groaned. "Grandpa, this sucks. We can't do anything without Wi-Fi." "Then go outside," I said. "There's an entire ocean out there." But they barely heard me. Lila finally cornered me on the balcony later that afternoon. Her voice wasn't sharp like Derek's, but weary, strained. "Dad, what's going on with you? You're different." I studied her face, the lines of stress that shouldn't be on a woman her age. "Different how? You're not bending like you used to. You're not trying to keep the peace." I smiled softly. Maybe I finally realized peace isn't found by bending. She frowned. "Derek says you're being difficult." "Derek always says that when someone doesn't obey him." Her eyes darted away, guilt flickering. For a moment, I saw the little girl she once was, the one who used to run barefoot through the yard, who begged me to tell her bedtime stories. But then the mask slid back into place. "I just don't want conflict," she murmured. I touched her hand gently. "Sometimes conflict is the only way to see the truth, Lila." She didn't answer. She just walked back inside. That evening, I unveiled the next step of my plan. Dinner was roasted chicken, potatoes, vegetables, simple but hearty. I set the table carefully, poured drinks, invited them all to sit. Derek strutted in last, phone in hand, barking orders at someone on the other end. He sat without a word of thanks. I waited until they were halfway through the meal. Then I cleared my throat. "I've decided," I said, voice steady. There will be house rules for this villa. Forks froze midair. Rules, Derek repeated, amused. What is this, summer camp? Rule 1, I continued, ignoring him. Everyone cleans up after themselves. Dishes, laundry, rooms. No exceptions. The kids groaned. Marcy rolled her eyes. Derek smirked. James, come on. Rule 2, I cut in, louder now. No treating me like staff. I am the owner of this home. I will not run errands on demand. If you want something, you get it yourself. Silence. Rule 3, I finished. Respect. That means no insults, no shouting in my face, and no calling me old man. My name is James. Derek laughed, but there was no warmth in it. You serious? Deadly, I said. The grandchildren shifted uncomfortably. Marcy smirked again, clearly enjoying the show. Lila just stared at me, her fork unmoving. Derek leaned back, wiping his mouth with exaggerated slowness. You know, James, it almost sounds like you don't want us here. I folded my hands. I want family here. But I won't host tyrants. His smile dropped. Just for a second. Enough for me to see the crack in his armor. The next days were tense. Derek tried pushing back, loudly demanding I fetch him a beer, snapping his fingers at me during meals. But each time, I met his eyes and said calmly, "Get it yourself." At first, the children followed his lead. "Grandpa, can you fix the Wi-Fi? Grandpa, bring us snacks." But when I ignored them, something shifted. They realized I wasn't their servant either. And slowly, awkwardly, they began helping Marcy's kids clean up after meals. It wasn't perfect. Far from it. But the seed was planted. One evening, as the sun sank into the horizon, I caught Derek on the phone outside, pacing the driveway. His voice was sharp, urgent. "I don't care if the numbers don't add up. Just move the money. James won't know. He's clueless." I froze. My blood ran cold. What money? I stepped back into the shadows before he saw me. Pieces clicked in my mind. Lila asking for loans, Derek's sudden ventures, the endless demands. Had my daughter been dragged into something darker than I imagined? That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, hearing Marianne's voice again. Asterisk, protect her, James. Asterisk, protect her, from Derek. The following morning, I made another move. I gathered everyone in the living room. The grandchildren sprawled across couches, Lila perched beside Derek, arms folded. Derek looked annoyed at being summoned. "I've been thinking," I said. "This house is big. Too big for me alone. Maybe it's time I decide who deserves to enjoy it." Eyes lit up. Marcy whispered something to her husband. Lila leaned forward. Derek smirked, certain of his place in the line. But I wasn't finished. "I'll be drafting something official soon," I continued. "A plan for this villa's future. And the way I'm treated in the present will decide who's part of that future." Gasps. Murmurs. Even the kids sat up straighter. Derek's smirk faltered. "You can't be serious. You're not going to." "I'm deadly serious," I said again, my voice cutting like steel. "This house isn't yours. It isn't anyone's but mine. And when I decide where it goes, it will go to those who respect it, and me." Lila's face drained of color. Marcy's eyes glittered. Derek clenched his jaw so tight I thought his teeth might crack. I rose, slow and deliberate. "Dinner's at 7. Clean up your own messes until then." I walked out to the balcony, leaving them stunned in my wake. The tide was turning faster now. And I knew, soon, very soon, the storm I was stirring would break Derek wide open. I couldn't get Derek's words out of my head. Asterisk, just move the money. James won't know. He's clueless. Asterisk, clueless. That was the word he'd used, like I was some senile fool fumbling through retirement. But I wasn't clueless. I had spent 40 years balancing overtime paychecks, union dues, medical bills, and tuition fees. Numbers were the one thing I understood better than most. That night, while the villa slept, I sat at the dining room table with a notebook and pen. I listed every time Lila had asked me for help since marrying Derek. The timeline told a story I had ignored for too long. The amounts had grown larger each year. The explanations got vaguer: business opportunity, short-term loan, covering expenses until Derek gets paid. And now, he was shifting money behind her back. Or maybe with her blind approval. I felt anger rise, hot and sharp, but I steadied it. This wasn't about rage. Rage was loud. My weapon would be silence. Calculation. Precision. The next morning, Derek was already in the kitchen, sipping coffee like he owned the place. He grinned at me. "James, we'll need more cash for outings. Can you front me a few hundred? I'll pay you back when the next deal closes." I stirred my oatmeal slowly. "What deal is that?" He froze for half a second, then laughed. "Just a little real estate project. You wouldn't understand. But don't worry, we're set to make a killing." "Real estate," I repeated. "Funny. Because last night you sounded more like a man begging to cover losses." His grin vanished. "You were listening." "I live here," I said simply. He slammed his mug down, ceramic cracking. "Stay out of my business, James. You don't know what you're talking about." I held his gaze. Calm. Silent. Letting him feel the weight of my suspicion. Later, I pulled Lila aside while she folded beach towels. "Honey," I said gently, "does Derek tell you everything about his work?" She hesitated. "Of course he does." But her eyes betrayed her. I touched her hand. "Marianne used to hide things from me. She thought she was protecting me from bad news. But secrets rot a marriage, Lila. Don't let that happen to you." Her lips trembled. "Dad, Derek's under pressure. He's invested a lot. If it goes well, we'll be fine. And if it doesn't?" I asked. She swallowed hard, folding the same towel 3 times. That afternoon, while everyone was at the beach, I went to Derek's room. Not sneaking. Not snooping. Just looking. On the nightstand sat his laptop. Locked, of course. But beside it was a stack of papers, receipts, invoices, bank statements carelessly tossed aside. I leafed through them slowly. Numbers. Always numbers. Huge withdrawals, risky transfers, balances that dipped lower than they should. And one line that made my chest ache: withdrawal from Lila Whitaker Trust Fund. $85,000, ***. The trust fund. Marianne and I had set it up when Lila was a teenager. Money scraped together over years, meant to protect her if life ever turned cruel. And Derek had drained it. I set the papers down, my hands trembling. Not from fear. From fury. I wanted to storm down to the beach and drag him out by his collar. But I didn't. Not yet. Because fury would make me reckless. And Derek thrived on chaos. No, this would be slower. Smarter. That evening, I invited everyone to dinner on the patio overlooking the ocean. The sky burned orange, waves rolling soft against the sand. I grilled fish, corn, and vegetables, just like Marianne used to. The smell filled the air, warm and comforting. They all gathered, noisy as usual. Derek talked loudly about his business trips to New York. His mother complained about the salt in the air. The kids fought over the biggest piece of corn. I waited until their plates were full, until their mouths were busy chewing. Then I spoke. "I've been thinking about legacies," I said. The table quieted. "This villa," I continued, "represents my life's work. 40 years of sweat, sacrifice, and saving. And I intend to leave it only to those who honor that sacrifice." Derek laughed, nervous. "James, come on. We all know where it's going. To Lila, naturally." I met his gaze. "Maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe it goes to those who prove they value me, not just my property." A ripple of tension spread across the table. Lila's fork froze midair. Mossy's eyes gleamed with interest. Derek's jaw tightened. "What are you saying, James?" he demanded. "I'm saying," I replied, "that the future of this villa is uncertain, and your behavior here will decide everything." The silence that followed was heavier than stone. Over the next few days, the mood shifted. The grandchildren, sensing opportunity, began treating me differently. They said, "Thank you." They offered to set the table, to carry plates. Even Marcy's children helped sweep the patio. Derek noticed. He tried to laugh it off, but the harder he grinned, the darker his eyes grew. He was losing control. One night, I overheard him snapping at Lila in their room. "Your father's playing games. He's manipulating everyone." "No," she whispered. "He's just reminding us of who he is." That broke me a little, hearing her voice soften toward me again. A spark of the daughter I'd raised. But it also put Derek on edge. And when Derek was cornered, he struck. The strike came 2 days later. I was sitting on the balcony when Derek stormed out, a glass of whiskey in hand. His face was flushed, his voice sharp. "You think you're clever, James? Dangling this house over everyone's head like a carrot? You think they respect you? They're just playing along to get a piece of the pie." I sipped my water calmly. Maybe. Or maybe they're learning respect they should have shown years ago. He stepped closer, sneering. "You're weak. Always have been. That's why Marianne carried this family. That's why Lila looks to me now. You're just an old man with a house he doesn't deserve." My chest ached at Marianne's name, but I didn't flinch. I just smiled faintly. "Funny," I said. "For a man who claims I'm weak, you sure depend on me a lot. My money, my house, my patience. Without me, what do you have, Derek?" His nostrils flared. For a moment, I thought he might hit me. But then he spun on his heel and stormed back inside. I let out a slow breath. The tide was shifting faster now. That night, while the house slept, I gathered the papers I'd found in his room. I scanned every line, every figure, and tucked them into a folder. I had evidence now, proof of his theft, his lies, his manipulation. I whispered into the darkness, "Don't worry, Marianne. I'll protect her. I'll protect Lila." And for the first time in years, I felt not just like a father. I felt like a guardian again. I held the folder in my hands all morning. Its weight felt heavier than paper. It felt like 40 years of sacrifice, of trust, of everything Marianne and I had saved for Lila, stolen. But I didn't rush. No, rushing was Derek's style. He thrived on chaos, on cornering people into quick decisions. My strength had always been patience. I'd spent decades bending steel, waiting for the molten heat to cool before shaping it. And now, I'd do the same with Derek. The first move wasn't to confront, but to plant doubt. At breakfast, the family was noisy as usual. Kids bickered over pancakes, Marcy complained about the coffee, and Derek scrolled his phone, pretending not to hear any of it. I waited until the noise peaked, then spoke lightly. "Funny thing," I said. "I was sorting through some old papers last night. Came across Marianne's trust fund for Lila. You remember that, don't you, honey?" Lila's fork froze midair. Her eyes darted to Derek. "Yeah, I remember." I nodded. It was supposed to be untouched until you needed it for something big, like a house or the kids' college. "Marianne was so proud we saved that for you." The room quieted. Even the children noticed the shift in tone. I smiled faintly. Imagine my surprise when I saw a withdrawal slip. 85,000. Gone. The silence was deafening. Lila's face drained of color. Derek slammed his phone onto the table. "James, that's private business. None of your concern." "Private?" I tilted my head. "When it's my wife's savings, my life's work, my promise to protect our daughter?" Lila's voice cracked. "Derek, is that true?" He forced a laugh. "Of course not." James is confused. He's old. Probably misread something. I leaned forward, eyes locked on his. "I know numbers better than you know your own reflection. Don't you dare say I misread." For a moment, no one breathed. Then Marcy, smirking, whispered just loud enough, "Looks like the golden boy's slipping." Derek shot her a glare sharp enough to cut glass. I rose from the table, calm as ever. "I'll be on the balcony if anyone wants the truth." and I left them stewing in silence. Lila didn't come to me right away, but by afternoon, she knocked softly on the balcony door. Her face looked younger somehow, vulnerable, like the little girl who used to crawl into my lap after nightmares. "Dad," she whispered, "please, tell me you're wrong." I handed her the folder. No lecture, no anger, just proof. She flipped through the pages, her lips trembling. He said it was for a property deal. He promised it would double. Her voice cracked. He promised. I touched her hand gently. "I promised your mother I'd protect you, even from the people you love." Tears spilled down her cheeks. For the first time in years, she collapsed into my arms, sobbing. I held her tight, staring over her shoulder at the endless horizon. And I vowed, this wasn't just about me anymore. This was about saving her. But Derek wasn't done. That evening, he stormed into my study while the family was distracted with TV. He slammed the door behind him, his face red with rage. "You think you've won, old man? You think showing her a few papers makes you clever?" I closed the folder calmly. "It makes me honest. Something you wouldn't understand." He leaned in, his breath hot with whiskey. "You ruined this marriage. You'll never see your daughter again. You'll die alone in this mausoleum of a house." I didn't flinch. I simply smiled. "I already live alone, Derek. The difference is, I'm not afraid of it. You are." His fists clenched. For a moment, I thought he'd swing. But he didn't. He stormed out, slamming the door so hard the frame rattled. The next day, I shifted into phase 2, exposure by silence. I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I just let the cracks show themselves. At lunch, I accidentally left the folder on the counter. Marcy found it. Her sharp eyes scanned the numbers before Derek snatched it from her hands. But not fast enough. She whispered to her husband, and soon whispers spread like wildfire. By evening, everyone in the villa knew. Derek's broke. Derek stole from Lila's fund. Derek's deals aren't deals at all. The man who strutted in like a king was suddenly on trial in his own court. His voice got louder, his explanations more desperate, but the more he talked, the less anyone believed. Even his mother, once so quick to criticize me, looked at him with something close to shame. That night, Lila came to me again. Her eyes were swollen, her hands trembling. "Dad," she whispered, "I don't know what to do." I brushed her hair back gently. "You do. You've always known. You just needed proof." She shook her head, tears falling. "I thought he loved me." I sighed, my chest heavy. Love doesn't drain your future to feed itself. Love builds. Love protects. Marianne would have told you the same. We sat in silence for a long time. The waves crashed outside, steady, relentless. Finally, she whispered, "I don't want to lose you again." And those words, were worth every battle, every scar. The following day, Derek tried one last desperate move. He gathered the family in the living room, pacing like a politician. "Listen, everyone. James is twisting things. The market dipped, but I've got deals lined up. Big ones. This is just temporary." No one responded. Marcy crossed her arms. "Funny, you said the same thing last summer. And the summer before that." Even the teenagers looked skeptical. One of them whispered, "He's lying, Mom." Derek's face flushed red. He turned to Lila. Tell them I'm providing for you." Lila's voice shook, but it was strong enough to shatter him. "Providing? You stole from me, Derek. From my mother. From my children's future. That's not providing. That's betrayal." The silence that followed was crushing. Derek looked around, waiting for someone to defend him. No one did. And for the first time, I saw him for what he truly was. Not a king, not a tyrant, just a man exposed, small and desperate. That night, after the house went quiet, I stepped onto the balcony again. The moonlight glowed on the waves. I felt Marianne's presence beside me, warm and steady. "We're close," I whispered. "She's beginning to see." They all are. And for the first time in decades, I felt something I thought I'd lost forever. Hope. The villa had gone quiet after Derek's humiliation. For days, meals were eaten in near silence, and the man who once barked orders now sulked in corners, drinking more than speaking. The air was heavy, charged with unspoken truths. But I knew something: a cornered man doesn't stay quiet forever. He strikes. And Derek was a striker. It happened on a Sunday morning. The children were outside chasing seagulls on the sand. Lila was folding laundry in the living room. I was in my study, jotting in Marianne's old leather journal, when I heard the front door slam open. Heavy footsteps stormed through the hallway, followed by Derek's voice, loud, wild, unhinged. Everyone in the living room. No. My heart steadied. This was it. His last gambit. I closed the journal and walked out. Derek stood in the center of the room, chest puffed, eyes bloodshot. In his hand, he waved a set of papers. You all think James is some saint? Some wise old man? He's a fraud. He's been hiding things from you. He thinks he's better than us. The family gathered, murmurs rippling. Marcy frowned. What are you babbling about, Derek? He slammed the papers on the coffee table. Here. Proof. The villa. He didn't even buy it with his own money. He used our family's money. Lila's inheritance, my deals. He tricked us all. Gasps filled the room. Lila's hands shook as she reached for the papers. I didn't move. She skimmed them quickly, her face paling. Then she turned to me. Dad, what is this? Derek smirked, savoring the moment. Tell her, James. Tell her you bought this fancy palace by draining the same accounts you accused me of touching. You're no better than me. The room pulsed with tension. All eyes landed on me. And I did what Derek never expected. I laughed. Not a mocking laugh, but a deep, weary chuckle that came from my belly. Oh, Derek, I said, shaking my head. You really are desperate. His smirk faltered. I walked to the table, picked up the papers, and held them up for everyone to see. These are forged. Poorly, I might add. The signatures don't match. The dates don't align. Anyone with eyes can see that. I set them down gently. The villa was purchased with my pension, my savings, and the sale of the farm Marianne and I kept for 40 years. Every cent was mine. I owe no one. Not the bank. Not you. Certainly not your scams. Murmurs rose again, this time laced with doubt, not toward me, but toward Derek. Marcy snorted. You couldn't even fake a signature, right? Her husband muttered, pathetic. The teenagers whispered and laughed behind their hands. Derek's face turned crimson. He's lying. He's twisting everything. Can't you see? He's turning you against me. Lila stepped forward, her voice trembling but clear. Derek, stop. Just stop. He grabbed her arm. You're my wife. You're supposed to believe me, not him. The room froze. My chest tightened as I saw Lila wince under his grip. That was it, the line he should never have crossed. I stepped forward, my voice calm but iron. Let her go, Derek. His eyes snapped to me, wild and bloodshot. Or what? You'll throw me out? You think this family will choose you over me? Before I could answer, Lila yanked her arm free. I already have. The words hung in the air like a thunderclap. Derek blinked, stunned. Lila's eyes filled with tears, but her voice was firm. I believed your lies for years. I defended you. I turned my back on my father because you told me to. And what did you do? You drained me. You drained us. And now you dare lay hands on me in front of my family. Derek's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. Lila turned to me, tears rolling down her cheeks. Dad, I'm so sorry. I shook my head gently. No apologies, sweetheart. Just truth. She collapsed into my arms, and I held her tight, my heart breaking and mending all at once. Behind us, Marcy clapped slowly, sarcasm dripping. Well, that's that. Golden boy dethroned. The room chuckled nervously, but Derek's rage only deepened. He grabbed the fake papers and shredded them, tossing the pieces into the air like confetti. You'll regret this. All of you. I'll find another way. You can't cut me out." Then he stormed out the door, slamming it behind him. The silence left in his wake was thick. The children peeked through the balcony door, confused and frightened. I kissed Lila's forehead. "It's over, honey. He's shown himself." But in my gut, I knew it wasn't truly over. Men like Derek don't vanish quietly. They linger. They scheme. Still, the tide had turned. That evening, as the family ate in uneasy peace, I noticed small shifts. The kids laughed more freely. Marcy, for once, didn't sneer at me. Even Derek's own parents avoided defending him. And Lila, she sat close to me, her hand resting on mine. A small, simple gesture that meant the world. After dinner, she and I walked along the beach under a fading sun. She spoke quietly, as though afraid to break the spell. "I wasted so many years," she said. "I chose him over you. Over Mom's memory. I let him convince me you were nothing but an old burden." I squeezed her hand. "You chose love, Lila. That's never wasted. But now you see the truth. That's what matters." She nodded, tears glistening. "I don't know what comes next. Divorce. Maybe. But I know one thing. I'm not letting him destroy us anymore." The waves crashed, steady and eternal. I looked at her, the daughter I thought I'd lost, and whispered, "Your mother would be proud." She leaned her head against my shoulder. And for the first time in years, I felt like a father again. But peace is fragile. Late that night, long after the house had gone quiet, I heard a car engine roar outside. I peeked through the curtains and saw Derek's SUV parked crookedly in the driveway. He stumbled out, drunk, shouting at the night. "You think you beat me, old man?" he slurred, waving a bottle. "This isn't over." The porch light flicked on. Marcy's husband shouted through the window, "Go sleep it off, Derek." But Derek only grew louder. "She's my wife. This is my family. My house. You can't take them from me." I stepped onto the porch, arms folded, voice calm as the sea. "Go home, Derek. You've already lost." He staggered toward me, bottle in hand, eyes blazing with drunken fury. "I'll burn this place down before I let you win." Gasps sounded from the doorway. Lila, the kids, everyone had gathered, fear etched on their faces. And in that moment, I knew. The final move was mine to make. The porch light cast Derek in a jagged shadow, his body swaying, the bottle dangling from his hand like a weapon. His words, slurred and venomous, sliced through the humid night air. "I'll burn this place down before I let you win, old man." Behind me, the family gasped. I felt their fear pressing against my back. For years, Derek had ruled them with bluster and manipulation. And now, stripped bare, all he had left was chaos. I raised my voice, steady, unshaken. "Derek, put the bottle down." He stumbled closer, his shoes scraping on the stone walkway. "You don't tell me what to do. This is my life, my family, my legacy." I shook my head slowly. "Your legacy? Lies, debt, betrayal. You don't own a thing here. Not this house. Not my daughter. Not even your own dignity." The silence after those words was crushing. For once, Derek had no quick retort. His face twisted, half fury, half desperation. "Shut up," he roared, swinging the bottle. I didn't move. I didn't need to. Because just then, 2 police cruisers rolled into the driveway, their red and blue lights splashing across the villa walls. Derek froze. His arm dropped. Behind me, the children whispered in awe. Lila clutched the doorframe, her lips parted in shock. The officers stepped out, hands on their belts. One of them, Officer Ramirez, nodded at me. "Mr. Whitaker, you called about the disturbance." I inclined my head. "Yes." He threatened to burn the house down. Derek spun toward me, his face pale now. You called the cops." I met his eyes, calm and unflinching. "I made the call yesterday. The moment you grabbed my daughter's arm. I knew this was coming." The officers moved in, their voices firm. "Sir, put the bottle down and step away." Derek sputtered. "You can't. This is my wife. My house. Lila's voice cut through the chaos, clear and trembling but strong enough to pierce his lies. No, Derek. This is my father's house. And I'm not your prisoner anymore. The children watched wide-eyed as the officers took Derek's arm, cuffed him gently but firmly. He resisted weakly, but the fight was gone. As they guided him toward the cruiser, he looked back at me, his eyes wild with disbelief. You planned this. You set me up. I stepped closer, my voice low so only he could hear. No, Derek. You set yourself up. All I did was give you enough rope. They shoved him into the car. The door slammed shut with finality. And just like that, the tyrant was gone. The silence afterward felt almost holy. The family huddled together, their faces pale, their eyes wide. The children whispered questions. Marcy muttered something under her breath, but for once, it wasn't criticism. Lila turned to me, tears streaming freely. Dad, I don't know how to thank you. I took her hand, warm and trembling. You don't thank me, sweetheart. You heal. That's how. She collapsed into my arms, sobbing against my chest. I held her, rocking gently, the way I used to when she was a little girl afraid of thunderstorms. And in a way, this storm had finally passed. The days that followed were different. The house, once loud with Derek's commands, was filled with a quieter kind of noise. The laughter of children, the clatter of dishes, the small, ordinary sounds of family rebuilding itself. Lila filed for a restraining order. Papers were drawn for divorce. The trust fund Derek had drained would take time to repair, but there was hope now. Real hope. Marcy and her husband packed their things earlier than planned, muttering about bad energy, but I saw it for what it was, shame. Shame that they had hitched their wagon to Derek's empty promises. They left without fanfare, their arrogance deflated. The children, though, blossomed. They ran barefoot on the sand, built castles, begged me for stories about their grandmother. They saw me not as the old man, but as someone steady, safe, worth listening to. And Lila, my daughter, walked with her head higher. She laughed more. She cooked with me in the evenings, just like her mother used to, humming old songs. One night, as we stood on the balcony watching the ocean swallow the sun, she turned to me. Dad, she said softly, how did you know? How did you know he'd unravel like that? I smiled faintly. I didn't. But I knew this much. Truth always comes out. Lies can't stand forever. I just had to give it time. She leaned her head against my shoulder. Mom would have been proud of you. My throat tightened. I stared out at the waves, the endless horizon, and whispered, I hope so. Weeks later, the villa felt like a different place entirely. The rooms that once echoed with tension now breathed peace. The walls, once witnesses to manipulation and greed, now heard laughter and quiet prayers of thanks. And me. I wasn't just the old man anymore. I was James Whitaker, father, grandfather, survivor. Not bitter. Not broken. Stronger. Because I had learned something powerful in those weeks. Sometimes the best revenge isn't anger, or shouting, or even fighting back. Sometimes the best revenge is simply standing tall, letting the truth shine, and watching the darkness scatter. On my last night before the family returned to their own lives, we gathered by a bonfire on the beach. The flames crackled, the children roasted marshmallows, and the ocean whispered its eternal song. Lila sat beside me, her hand warm in mine. Dad, she said softly, I'm sorry for all the years I chose him over you. I shook my head. Don't carry that weight, honey. You did what you thought was love. That's never a sin. She smiled through her tears. I don't want to waste any more time. I squeezed her hand. Then don't. Time's a gift. Let's use it. The firelight danced in her eyes. And in that moment, surrounded by family, I realized something profound. This wasn't just my villa. This wasn't just my retirement. This was redemption. Later, after everyone drifted inside, I stayed by the fire alone. The stars glittered, the ocean roared, and I felt Marianne beside me, her presence as real as the sand beneath my feet. We did it, I whispered into the night. She's safe. They're safe. And I kept my promise. A tear slid down my cheek, but it wasn't from sorrow. It was from peace. For the first time in years, I felt whole. And I smiled, quietly, knowingly, because in the end, I hadn't just survived. I had won. Did you like my story? And which city are you listening from? Let's meet in the comments. If you like the story, you can support me by sending a super thanks so I can keep bringing more stories like this. Thank you so much for your sweet support. I'm looking forward to your comments on the story. On the screen, you can see 2 new life stories that I highly recommend. There's so much more on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story.